It's not easy with two. Yeah, can you play this game with two?
What's that?
That's our school district.
Oh, so this one's yours. Oh, North Allegheny.
That's right.
Oh. Did you feel it?
It's coming nice.
Isn't that scary?
Yeah, it's fun.
Come in, you see it?
Yeah.
Whoa, the jetty's like full of it.
And the French, I guess, if they get the hairstyle and stuff like that or whatever, that's where
Hi, everyone.
We see it.
I don't like it.
Thanks. And Sam's gonna kick up and get right in there.
Jump on his back!
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
Now back to our show! It's not ready.
Oh no.
What do they figure out that your father will fit that people?
No way.
You get it, you can choke on it.
We're here to please.
He had a pot that the bass would fit in, and he would poach it.
Boiling it in vinegar or vinegar water.
Herbs and
Poach it with herbs.
Third time you're buying it.
And he would take it out, remove the skin, cut off the head and the tail, make up a mayonnaise of his own formula, spread that over the fish. Then he'd reconstitute the what do you call it? Not the gills,
what, the fin? No, what he cut off?
the fish has scales.
Scales.
He'd reconstitute the scales with very, very thinly sliced carrots. And then he would have speckled capers.
Oh, nice. This is Karina again, right?
No, this is my mother's part.
Oh.
Then when he got all finished, the head and tail would go back on. Okay? And the fish would be served at the table that way.
Beautiful.
Do you remember my christening? May would rave for years about the fish that he made like that for my christening short. My grandfather. Beautiful. That's probably
This was on Fridays, no doubt, right?
No, it was on Sunday.
It was on Sunday?
This was this was part of the meal. It was an appetizer.
We did fish on Sunday in the Catholic Church, or did that really not figure in there?
Well, he wasn't interested in what the Catholic Church did.
Okay.
That was part of the meal. I guess it was the right after the soup was the fish course.
Okay.
Dad, how many people would you have around the table?
Good question.
Put the leaves in.
On a typical Sunday.
Well, on a typical Sunday, we had Grandma and Grandpa, me, my mother, Joseph, my father, Uncle Albert, little Joseph, and Margaret, Johanna.
doing what?
On a typical Sunday.
I'm asking him to describe the typical Sunday at dinner.
Where was I? Did you go Joseph?
He hasn't hit you yet.
You had to
He's
be
going
there,
around the
yeah.
table.
2 years younger.
Yeah.
This is the 30s, right?
In the 30s.
Early 30s.
Now, was Albert coming from somewhere else, or he lived very close by?
Albert lived at that time on Utica. No. In
Yeah, they did. Utica Avenue. They didn't move up to the Bronx for several years. Until we moved to McGraw Avenue.
no, they didn't live on Utica. Uncle Frank lived on Utica.
Oh, I'm sorry. In Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah?
But they hardly ever came to dinner.
But Uncle Albert was a regular, pretty much, his
Oh
family.
yeah. They lived with the Cosentinos.
Well, of course they're going to go to the chef's house.
That's right.
In the alley. And get off at
Like the Brighton Beach? The Brighton Beach line? That's the one that goes
Yeah.
all the way out, yeah.
I'd get off, I think, 2 stops before Coney Island.
Mm-hmm.
Where would that be?
Right now, that would probably be like there's a Shore Avenue stop. I just was out there. There's Avenue X, too.
That was it. Avenue U.
Avenue U.
Avenue U. Avenue U, Paula. Yeah. Had all of it.
Had Olive Groves in the past.
And
My mother's family married him.
she had a number of sons by a previous marriage. And of course, the sons that were born afterwards had no right of succession at all. My grandfather being one of them.
Right.
That's when I told you he was at 11 years old. They brought him down to become an apprentice in the galley. But I'll tell you a story about money.
Okay. Let's hear a good one.
When I was doing experimental work up at Notre Dame, and I had 2 graduate students from India as assistants in this water treatment project. And one night, we were sitting around, and Sunil was telling me about when India became a state, they nationalized all of the treasure, took the money and the jewels away from the Maharajas, and issued them scrip.
What year was this?
This is 1940. Issued them scrip. Now, in order to retain the the custom, in order to retain the custom of weighing the Maharaja in his wealth on his birthday. The Maharaja, on his birthday, calls his chancellor and says, "Bring up a chest so I can weigh myself." And they bring up the chest, and they open them up. Dust. Dust. The termites had got in there and eaten everything.
What were they? Silk?
Huh?
What were they?
Filled with script.
Oh, wow.
Thousands upon thousands of dollars. Well,
No.
the Maharaja now is incensed, and he calls the treasury, and he says, "I want my jewels back." He says, "or I want you to replace the money." And they said, "Well, let me have the serial numbers." There was no serial numbers left in it. That is the true story. Very popular here, too.
Well, we bought some when we were in the Caribbean. Leo grew one of his and Mimler's for a beach thing.
Oh, she went to an affair. That's how she wore what she wore.
She did wear it already?
Yeah, she wore it already.
Great.
She's moving fast.
Did you get any pictures?
No.
I gotta call. When's a good time to reach out?
Up at Edwards. And one of our popular captains had just pulled out on a levee. So we were having a party for him. And in the BO2 day room, we had a fireplace up at Camp Edwards.
That's where we went.
And we ran out of glasses because we were toasting and throwing the glasses in the fireplace.
Good way to run out of glasses.
And in comes the officer of the day, Sturbins. He was the commander of D Battery, the 259th. And he says, "Hey, that's a good idea." And he starts drinking and throwing the glasses in the fireplace, not realizing that it was his mess hall that we got the glasses from. the next morning, the mess sergeant comes up to me and he says, "Hey, Lieutenant, where the hell are all my glasses?" See, what do you mean? He says, "Those crazy guys last night, they were drinking and throwing glasses in the fireplace in terms of, those are my glasses." He had a survey 400 glasses.
That's where your tax dollars are going.
I won a public speaking contest, citywide public speaking contest.
Yeah.
And at the hall that night, there were 2 Italian priests that were sent around by the Italian consulate to look for students of Italian extraction that excelled in a subject, in some subject matter.
Yeah.
Mine was public speaking. And after I was awarded the prize, which was a $50 prize,
$50?
$50.
That's pretty good back then, wasn't it?
The master of ceremonies said, "Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have something else to announce here. This young man..."
Father James.
No, it was the master of ceremonies. It was at Carnegie Hall. Oh, yeah. I'm talking about
It's a
this
constant admonition going on.
public speaking
You're
prize that I
speaking
won,
loud.
you know. And at the hall that night, after I was awarded the $50, the master of ceremonies held up his hand and he says, "Now, I have something else to announce." He says, "This young man has just been selected by 2 members sent around by the Italian consulate to enjoy a trip to Italy." Okay? And it'll all be on at the cost of the Italian government. Well, everybody was overjoyed. And we sailed on the 24th of June on the Roma. SS Roma.
How many
This is an
kids?
Italian flag.
250 boys all over the country,
Wow.
ranging in ages from, let's see, I was 13 to
graduated.
17.
So what year is this now? Like 36 or
35.
35?
Right.
By yourself.
Huh?
Wow.
So you've got your parents.
Oh yeah, all by ourselves. Well, it was a propaganda trip, really. He had just started his excursion into Ethiopia. And before we got to Italy, we went to Funchal, Madeira. We went to Marseille. We went to Granada, the Alhambra, which I hope to get back and see one day.
Yeah.
We went to Haifa in Palestine.
What a fabulous trip.
Yeah, and then we went to I said Marseille. We went to Genoa. We got off at Genoa. And at Genoa, they put us into uniforms like the Balila.
What's Balila
The
mean?
brown
Yeah.
shirts?
Blue.
Yeah.
Blue uniform. And they said that they did this because they wanted to keep track of us, you know. Well, everybody was taking pictures like mad of these little boys from the United States who are in the uniform of the Italian government. Anyway, from Genoa we went up to Milano, and we visited the Duomo, the cathedral there, and the Galleria. It's an indoor glass-covered shopping center. Oh yeah. From Milano we went down to Florence. We were going to go to Venice, but the war was now in earnest in Ethiopia, and they didn't want to get us caught short while we were there. So we went to Florence, and then from Florence we went to Rome. And while in Rome, we had an audience with Mussolini. Okay, and he was as far away from me as Lee is, talking the propaganda.
He's shouting at you or talking to you.
He was in a very strong voice how he knows that we are of American extraction and our loyalties are to the United States, but never forget that we came from Italian stock and we should be proud, etc., etc., etc.
Speaking in Italian?
In Italian. Well, that was very impressive. From the Palazzo Venezia, where we saw him, we went to the Vatican and had an audience with Pius XI. Okay.
You're hitting all the bases there.
Yeah, and
They know how to do their
we got
propaganda.
to kiss his ring as we went by.
You got to kiss his ring?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And then from Rome, we went down to Naples, and we were housed at the military school, the Italian military school similar to West Point, which was headed by the Crown Prince, Umberto. Okay, and he was a crackerjack of a guy, a wonderful man, tall, slim, good looking, you know, smart. Everybody enjoyed being with him. We went to Pompeii, saw the ruins. They kept us away from the erotic areas, you know, which I found out existed later.
You went to the catacombs.
Oh yeah, we went to the catacombs of St. Cecilia in Rome, and from Naples we came back. An interesting story about the catacombs. Years later, I brought Rose over to Italy, and I wanted her to see the catacombs of St. Cecilia right outside Rome. And of course, the catacombs are not the most interesting things in the world, because you're going down into the underground where the light bulbs may be every 50 feet and crypts on either side cut out of the walls, you know. So while we're going down there, I said, you know, I'm going to make some money. She says, what are you going to do? So I reached into one of the crypts and I picked up a scoopful of a handful of sand. I says, I'm going to take this home, and I'm going to take a tweezer I'm going to put one grain in a little vial, and I'm going to advertise in the Catholic Digest with filled with sand and one of these little grains, the bones of the catacombs of Saint Cecilia. He said, "You will not."
Did you do it?
So that's how you
Never
made your
did,
fortune.
no.
I suppose.
That's how you made your fortune.
Now, you were gone almost the whole summer.
Oh yeah, we were.
And when you came back, you were singing songs like Jovinet's.
Yeah, Jovinet's son.
Oh, sing me that
And
part.
Daddy got really upset when he realized what this trip was really all about.
Yeah, that's what Uncle Jim remembers, is how you got in big trouble when you got home.
Well, have you ever forgotten that you are Italian, or have you ever been not proud that you're Italian, according to Il Duce's admonition to you?
Ladies in the woods.
Okay. So the trip was a success, then, I think.
The history of Italy, okay, when you come right down to it, is the history of the world.
Yeah.
Because Italy got its background from Greece. Greece got its background from Egypt, and the Romans
But they don't sing it in
took the same gods that the Greeks had.
Yeah.
You know,
Give them Italian names.
yeah. It was the Italians outside of Rome who actually hated the Romans because of Rome's subjugation of the Italians and only used them for troops and didn't recognize them as anything else except uneducated barbarians. So we left Rome. I hired a car, drove down to Naples, through Herculaneum, into Pompeii, find out the ruins have closed on Monday.
Overnight.
So now it's around 12 o'clock. I said, let's have lunch. There was a restaurant open. We had a nice lunch. And they served a nice wine. I was going from Rome, it was a business trip. I was going from Rome back to Germany. And I figured, well, I'll see if I can't get 4 bottles and bring them back to Germany with me. So the proprietor was only too happy. He sold me 4 bottles of wine. You wrapped them up in napkins. You laid them on the floor of the car behind the behind the front seat. We're driving up the highway. Vesuvius is over here, smoking up a storm. I said to Rose, you know, the wind must be blowing this way. You smell that sulfur? I said, yeah. We kept going. I said, boy, you can still smell that sulfur. She turns around to me and she says, yeah, I got news for you. That sulfur you're smelling is all over the floor of the car. One of the bottles popped.
It was sulfur? I don't understand how it was sulfur. Why would it be sulfur?
Well, I thought to me, it smelled like a sulfurous, had a sulfurous odor, the wine, you know.
had the driver license.
Well, I had rented the car. I was driving. It cost me $50 to get the damn thing clean. The Sicilian couldn't understand the Piemontese. The Piemontese couldn't understand the Sicilian, and the judge didn't know what the hell either one was talking about. So he threw the case out. Come back when you speak Italian.